Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for viewing the Virtual Commanders Call. We wanted to provide you this forum so we didn't take time away from you because we know that you guys are in a hectic work schedule right now. And with the holidays and everything, we thought this was the most feasible way. So again, welcome. You have Commander here, Major Sam Waterman, accompanied by Chief Rob Innes and the First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Heather Warden. The great thing about this unit is the unit successes are your successes. All right. Everything that we've done since January 1st, 2021 is due to what you have done as professionals and as experts in your craft. So since the 1st of January of this year, we've done 3 red flag exercises where you've secured multi-joint and coalition assets to include the Brits, the Australians, the Japanese, and the Koreans. We've also secured 6 higher headquarter missions supporting Operation Noble Eagle and a slew of other operations that are going on from U.S. NORTHCOM and U.S. INDOPACOM. We've showcased ACE from the 354th Fighter Wings perspective during Northern Edge. The 2021 Arctic Air Show was phenomenal with 0 incidents, and it's because Defenders' excellence that you showcase day in, day out is what made that air show secure. For counter SUAS, we had the fastest MAJCOM and Federal Aviation Administrative processing times to get that brought online. So outstanding work to Lieutenant Piney and Staff Sergeant Foy for their efforts there, and to everybody in S3 operations for getting a very fast training curriculum accomplished. So outstanding job to everybody in that regard. We have 3 new specialized programs with SWAT, crisis negotiations, and flyway security, garnering 34 Air Force national certifications, whether that's SRT, National Tactical Officers Association, U.S. Army certifications, or just Air Force certifications in general. You Defenders have dominated in that arena. We also conducted our first ACE operational deployment in December of this year, so just recently, which was the first for the 354th Fighter Wing, showcasing that, hey, we are here to fight and to show our adversaries that we do not fool around. And, last but not least, there have been so many promotions, decorations, coins, awards, marriages, babies being born, and this is just outstanding stuff that has been happening day in, day out. So, outstanding job, Defenders. So by now, everybody should have received the classified briefing in regards to our pacing threats. So on the unclassified side, as released by the Department of Defense, our pacing threat right now is the People's Republic of China, with the Russian Federation not that far behind, but the main threat is China. So with that, you all received a theater sit rep briefing. There is a drawdown going on with the U.S. CENTCOM AOR, where they're focusing more in our theater instead of the traditional CENTCOM threats. So what that means for us are, yes, less deployments to CENTCOM, however, more focused short-term deployments in support of ACE operations to showcase to our pacing threat, China and Russia, that, hey, we are here to fight anytime, any place. So, there's going to be a lot more opportunities coming in the future, whether it's deployments, it's exercises, or show of force messages that we're going to be pushing out. So taking the pacing threat or threats into consideration, the 354th Fighter Wing plays a pretty significant role in the strategic efforts to mitigate and even combat the aggression that China and Russia conducts on a day-in, day-out basis. Where we are positioned in the world, we are able to strike Russia and China with lethal effects. So if you look at our mission specifically, the 354th Fighter Wing provides U.S. INDOPACOM combat-ready 5th-generation air power, advanced integration training, and a strategic Arctic basing option, with the vision being the world's premier 5th-generation fighter wing, ready to compete, deter, and win the high-end fight with a diverse, ready, innovative lethal force under 3 lines of effort. First, deploy lethal 5th-generation combat capability. Second, train and integrate advanced operations. And third, project strategic air power. So what does that mean to you as Defenders? Your ability to stand on the line, being the tip of the spear of this installation, securing it day in, day out, enables these sorties to happen. For F-35 or 5th-generation combat power to be sourced, sorted, and generated downrange to provide lethal effects to the combatant commander in case Russian and China aggressions were ever to pop off. So thanks to you guys, you secure this effort. You are the most important asset on this installation that enables air power to happen on a day-in, day-out basis. To ensure that we are a ready and lethal force protection provider for the installation, we have to make sure that we maintain healthy relationships. And that's done with many of the agencies that you see listed on this slide. We do this through intelligence sharing, the analysis of crime trends, joint training, and best practices shared amongst all our agencies. So we have to maintain these relationships and ensure that they remain healthy. And what I mean by that is going out and actually doing these types of activities at all times, making sure that they don't fall off the grid. Not only does that make us transparent and show that we are willing to have joint interoperability amongst all these agencies, but it also shows that we are serious when it comes to protecting not only the installation, but a base security zone outside of the installation. Ultimately, this secures our 5th generation assets to ensure that we can provide lethal effects downrange to our combatant commanders. So now we're going to transition to the outlook for the unit. So the first 2 of the now in the future slides, we're going to go into what that looks like. So the first of it being the black LE gear. So we purchased black law enforcement gear to provide users the best fit for them as it relates to being on law enforcement patrols. And that kind of puts us in line with what our sister services are doing with wearing black LE gear, and also, civilian law enforcement as well. And the gear absolutely does work. It displaces the amount of weight that you have off of your shoulders and onto the load-bearing part of your body, being your hips. And opposed to what our law enforcement counterparts are doing on the civilian side, we are not wearing about 20 pounds of gear on our hips. Rather, we wear, 10 pounds or less on our hips, and we place a lot of our stuff on our plate carriers, or we just don't have the same type of equipment that they do. So it's a great option. So if you do choose this, S3 Operations did come out with kind of their stipulation for how to wear it. So that's there for you. 12-hour shifts. So a lot of this is driven by higher headquarter missions, our new role in ACE operations, and our current lack of manning. So when you look at our current PFD, we're about 86% right now. So that tells you about 14% of the unit is not able to carry out their duties as required. So we have a shortfall in manning, and that's just not our PFD rate in regards to who's available, but also the lack of manning in regards to the bodies that are filling the authorized slots that we do have. So we have to remain in 12-hour shifts because that's the only way that we can continue to move forward with our mission. And until we get the more of the manpower that we need and the unit starts to get a lot healthier, is then we can start to transition into 8-hour Panama shifts again, or even the Alaskan schedule that we were previously in, but preferably the 8-hour shift schedule. Now, S3 Operations is working certain COAs and different types of options to present to me. So once they develop those, we'll go ahead and make a deciding decision and then push those out to you guys, so you know what type of fidelity that you can have with your schedule over the next, at least the next year. And that kind of goes into this new duty schedule that's next on the slide, right? It's in draft right now. Decision is primarily going to be made by the new incoming commander, so I'll advise her of all her options, and really what it's going to come down to is whatever decision she's comfortable with, because she's going to be the one who's living with the ramifications of whatever that decision is. And last on that slide, we have the master training plan. So the master training plan is a year-long schedule of what you guys are trained on every time you have training day. And what that's going to look like is essentially a modification of the previous year's training plan based on inputs that we get from the senior NCOs in the unit and S3 operations. So you have your mandatory training hours that the Security Forces Center says you must do this training in order to become proficient in your duties. And then you have additional hours set by the commander based on the needs of the unit. So previously, there was a lot of calls for law enforcement-centric training, so we had a lot of that during this past calendar year of 2021. But for 2022, moving forward, based on what the flight chiefs have observed and S3 operations have observed, they're going to provide critical inputs to see what your training should be moving forward. So the next slide for the now and the future is looking a little bit more into the future. What we're looking at doing right now is upgrading your law enforcement patrol vehicle suites to make you more independent of BDOC. So BDOC is more free to do more of the major C2 operations that they're supposed to be doing. So what does that specifically mean to you? Upgrading the vehicles to be mini C2 nodes themselves. So providing Wi-Fi enabled laptops or tablets, whichever works best for operations, and form printers. So you can conduct your NCIC checks on vehicles that you pull over to ensure there's no wants or warrants or expired registrations or anything like that. And then if you need to, essentially type up the citations that you have at your fingertips and print out those forms and make it easier for you. So everything's going to be done from inside your vehicle for the most part. So how we're going to do this, we're going to purchase one whole kit. We're going to do a test and evaluation of that for about 30 days. And if everything works out within that package, we'll make 5 additional purchases and outfit 6 total vehicles and operations to go ahead and have that capability to make it easier on the patrolmen to conduct their duties. In addition to that, we're doing a building and work center refresh. So S4 is leading the way to upgrade BDOC, provide new monitors and printers for the unit, new furniture for essentially the entire unit itself, Modernize battle staff to make us a more effective support function whenever crisis situations or high-risk situations go down, and renovate the interior of the building. So what does that mean? Fresh paint, better designs, nicer pictures, all that good stuff, right? And lastly, enhancing the force. So more TDYs that are beneficial to the unit, not only in the law enforcement capacity, but security and air-based ground defense. So increasing our partnerships with TACPs, with Fort Wainwright, is going to be one of the ways that we do this, as we already increase our existing relationships with the law enforcement agencies around the local area. So looking into the distant future, or maybe not so distant future, as a lot of these things are already happening, and you're going to see major changes in the next 6 months, is Defender Next. So Defender Next is the entire rewrite for the career field or the enterprise, right? So what does that mean to you? So the security forces career field is going to go through a drastic reorganization. The doctrine itself is going to go under a rewrite, which means how security forces does its business. There's going to be a structural reorganization from security force squadron to base defense squadron. They're going to baseline unit sizes. So based on whatever your mission composition is, you're going to fall under one of 3 sizes: small, medium, or large unit, and there's going to be a set amount of personnel assigned to that. So as an example, if you're a small unit, you're going to have 199 personnel. Medium units, 299, and large units, 399, just across the board. There's also a talk of splitting the career fields. So you're going to be split into air-based ground defense, so think security or CRGs, and then the second part is going to be law enforcement. So approximately 6,000 personnel are going to be split into the law enforcement career field. Those personnel are going to be post-certified either through the Veterans Affairs LETC, so the Law Enforcement Training Academy, or through the Marine Corps Police Academy. That's being fleshed out right now, so that's still in the planning process. And it's unknown if this is going to be in the form of a SHRED, an SCI, or AFSC. But there will be a split between the career fields. So you're going to have more air-based ground defense-centric personnel and more law enforcement-centric personnel. Some other efforts that the career field is trying to move towards is the harder tech school and harder training courses. So their main emphasis is earning the beret and continuing to earn the beret throughout the course of your career. So what does that mean? Courses like security forces, intermediate, and advanced courses will go away, and they'll do a more revamped combat leaders course. So for those of my defenders that are legacy, you know what combat leaders course is, right? It's a very physically and mentally tough course that they're going to try to bring back online and even revamp it to be harder. Tier training is going to disappear and turn into readiness training. So no longer are we going to focus on tiers of training, we're going to focus on combat readiness training. And WEPTAC, weapons and tactics. This is a more focused curriculum to provide commanders the ability to focus their resources more effectively when it comes to our mission requirements, and that's in regards to weapon systems. We're going to start transitioning to more closed, hardened bases. So there's more of an emphasis on entry control operations and perimeter security that are going to be coming down the pipeline. No idea what that's going to look like, but that's one of the talking points right now. There's going to be a new course of fire that we're actually taking part in regards to beta testing, and a new security force-centric physical fitness assessment. So not only will we do an Air Force PT test, but there's going to be a security forces-centric PT test that we're going to be doing as well. It's going to be harder. And there's also going to be centralized distribution of gear and equipment. So as we recently talked about with some of S4's messages about things we can't buy because they're centrally distributed through the Air Force Security Force Center, we're going to see a lot more of that in the future. A lot of the gear that you're going to be issued is going to be centrally distributed from the Air Force Security Forces Center and its distribution nodes, and possibly even be given to you through the course of your career. So you don't have to go to each base and pick up new kit every time you transition to a new base. The kit that you're issued is going to be your enduring kit, unless it starts to degrade over time, in which you'll turn it in and get new kit. But that's kind of some of the talking points that they're trying to move towards under the Defender Next initiative. So 2022 is already proven to be a crazy year. The ops tempo isn't slowing down, and with that, there's a lot of leadership churn going on. So Chief Loken's expected to retire next year, so he should be gone sometime in the first or second quarter of next year. Captain Jensen's going on a deployment for 6 months, somewhere around the time frame of 28 March, give or take a few days left or right. I'll be departing on June 1st, if not a little before then, to take on my next command over at Al Dhafra. Colonel Wolf is expected to retire, so the Vice Wing Commander is going to be punching out. So it's him and the Command Chief. So the Senior Enlisted Advisor and the Vice to the Wing Commander are going to be out. So there's going to be a lot of transitioning going on at the wing level. Lieutenant Piney is looking to cut out and PCS around the August timeframe, maybe even earlier based on whatever assignment that he gets. So, that'll be a huge loss to the contingency operations side, but we are anticipated to get a pretty heavy hitter to take over for him, but still big shoes to fill. Colonel Williamson, huge shoes to fill as well. He'll be leaving in the August-September timeframe. And then, Chief Ennis's DeRose will also be coming up in December. So if he gets an assignment, he may be leaving sometime before then. But next year, he's definitely leaving for sure. So as previously mentioned, your incoming commander is Major Autumn Farrell. She's coming from the Air Force Inspection Agency over Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico. She is a Air Force Academy graduate who's currently deployed to AFRICOM. Prior bases are Minot and some other smaller units conducting mainly law enforcement missions. She's been in for approximately 12 years and should be here hitting her report no later than date pretty much on that targeted time that you see there, so the 1st of July. In the interim, there is going to be a gap in command, so there's going to be no change of command ceremony, but a assumption of command. So in the interim, Lieutenant Piney will be taking over as commander as authorized by Colonel Williamson. Major decisions, though, will reside at Colonel Williamson's level. However, Lieutenant Piney will be on G-Series orders to pretty much keep status quo while I'm on leave and during the course of my out processing and departure. So he is going to have a lot of support, though, from Chief Ennis, the First Sergeant, and then the Senior NCO Corps to ensure that he's vectored in the right direction when making decisions. So one of the weaknesses that we observe in every single unit across the Air Force, and it does come up in the DOCs, the QR codes, and post visits, are degraded comm lines. So whenever we try to get information to you, there always seems to be some sort of obstacle or some misunderstanding of information. And that's due to no one's fault. But one of the things that we try to do is increase the outlets that we have to you so you get the most up-to-date information as possible, so you understand what's going on not only within the unit or wing, but also throughout the Air Force and within the career field itself. So how we do this, we try to bridge the gap through our post visits, through our Facebook page, the announcement slides that are updated every week and posted in the guard mount room, and also through the many meetings that we have between the command team and section leads and the section leads with their sections. These are all avenues that we try to disseminate information. And even at the tactical level, your guard mounts, your flight chief coming out to do their post visits, these are our dissemination lines of information that we have. So, please take every opportunity when you see us in the hallways or you see us walking about, ask us questions if you have them, all right, especially when we're on post visits. Check out our Facebook page. There's a lot of great information on there. The announcement slides has a slew of outstanding information. And just make sure that if you have questions, just ask, okay? Because we do have a lot of great information when it comes from higher authority, the Air Force Security Forces Center, Headquarters Air Force, the wing, whatever it may be. We'll get that information to you, okay? We are transparent. We will ensure that you stay up to date. So really quick, I'm going to make a plug for our Facebook page. If you want to check out what's going on in the unit, whether they're events or the Defender Spotlight where we highlight, individual defenders every week, this is a great page to check out, right? Especially it's great to share with family and friends when you're spotlighted on there, or whenever you get a promotion or decoration or any type of coining. We try to post this stuff as much as possible on the unit Facebook page so your families and friends can stay connected as much as you stay connected to the unit. So a lot of great unit pride showcased here, so definitely check it out. So as many of you know, through post visits that Chief and I conduct, I like to give you guys information in regards to how the unit is, the wing's going, and then how the career field's shaping out to be. So here's some GWIS information I want to pass along to you. PACAF Commander's number one force protection concern are drones, and understandably so, which is why there's been such a robust effort to get our counter SUAS capabilities online through authority to operate through the FAA and the training sessions that we've had with you to ensure that you're not only trained but comfortable with the technology that are put in front of you. So for your edification, a lot of this is going to be an enduring concern that the PACAF commander is going to have. Eielson's not slowing down. Between the annual battle rhythm, higher headquarters support, and ACE operations, the 354th Fighter Wing is in a full sprint to ensure that all of these mission capabilities are met. So what does that mean for you defenders? We are going to be in a full sprint as well. So there's no down period that's going to be happening at Eielson Air Force Base anytime soon. Since the beginning of the fiscal year, really the first 2 weeks of the fiscal year, we've had 3 vehicle accidents. So knock on wood that we don't have any more. But the reason that we're highlighting this is every time that we have damages to vehicles, which has been about $5,000 per accident, this comes out of our bottom line. So the money that we have to buy the unit gear and equipment, to afford TDYs, to do building renovation and work center renovations, that is cut every time that we have a vehicle accident. So please make sure you're taking care of these vehicles and that you're treating them as your own. And some information that we want to pass along from the S4 are things that we just can't buy for the unit. So due to some sole sourcing distribution through the Air Force Security Force Center, we cannot purchase things like plate carriers for unit distro, helmets, cold weather gear, because these are Air Force Material Command or LRS issued, with exception of boots and some deficient items that LRS can't provide, and then equipment parts sourced through mill supply channels. So those are actually acquisition efforts that have to be done. But a lot of these things just can't be purchased, right? These are already taken care of on behalf of other agencies. If we get money that are sourced for these, the money will be pulled from us and applied to these organizations so they can go ahead and continue to make these purchases, or we would lose the opportunity to get these specific types of equipment issued out to the unit. So these are just some of the things that we can't buy for the unit.
Hello, my defenders. I want to talk to you about a few things today, and the first one is knowing your why. When you wake up in the morning or in the evening and you put your uniform on, do you tell yourself that you love what you do? Do you still have passion for being a defender? You are trained on everything you do, from how you wear your uniform to law enforcement to deploying downrange. But if you don't have passion for it, then why are you still doing it? Knowing your why is a biological thing. It's not how much money you make or how fast you get promoted. It's what drives you to do better, what compels you, what motivates you. When you find that reason, you have found your why. Next, let's talk about making goals. You are stationed here for about 3, 4, sometimes 6 or more years. Have goals while you're here. Go after the things you want. There are 2 kinds of people in this world. There's those that see what they want, and those that see the obstacles preventing them from getting what they want. Which one are you? Stop allowing weather, darkness, coldness, or even people to get in your way from achieving your goals. Next, let's talk readiness. Readiness is a huge part of what we do and what we need to accomplish. Readiness is more than just your IMR. It's your family, your pets, your mindset, your ability to be able to deploy at a moment's notice. All of this is within your control. You can't control how someone feels about you leaving, but you can control the stress that comes with how you leave. What I will tell you is control the controllable. Resiliency. Resiliency is something you have to be taught. It comes from situations you went through in life and how you handled them. We all have things in our life that causes us to be stressed, but how you handle that stress is based on your resiliency. This isn't just the catchword of the day. When you surround yourself with those you share the same goals and mindset with, those are the same people who will help you find your strength. Lastly, let's talk some responsibility. Security Forces is an organization. We create our own mission and vision statements, and we work together to achieve a common goal. The Air Force is the institution. The Air Force is dedicated to promoting a specific cause, which is to defend our nation. I want you to think about how those 2 are different and where do you fit in. This is going to go back to knowing your why. Next, standards and discipline. We can make standards all day long, but what we can't do is make you have discipline. The discipline you make in yourself comes by doing the right thing. Not walking by a problem and thinking someone else will do it, but it's waking up early to get a good workout in. When you start doing these things, you start to see your life become easier, and you start to feel a little more free. Discipline comes from the choices that you make. They're not always the most popular and sometimes make you feel uncomfortable. But are they the right decisions? Yes. Discipline isn't easy. It is making the hard choices. But having discipline is your life. Defenders, I need you to remember, I am always here for you, no matter what the problem or your issue is. I tell you guys all the time, my phone is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Our family connections are almost as important, if not more important, than our military connections. The Key Spouse program was developed as a quality of life initiative out of concern for Air Force families. This program is important because it promotes individual, family, and unit readiness, provides family links to leadership, and is vital to building strong Air Force communities. Some of the outcomes of this program is to increase awareness of installation and community resources, prepares and supports families during separations, and increases readiness and retention. Whether you're a brand new airman in the Air Force or a member who's been serving for a while, your spouse is important to this program. If you have a spouse who's interested, please feel free to contact either of our key spouses or reach out to the First Sergeant for further information.
Okay, Defenders, only a couple of things I want to talk about. First, the new evaluation and feedback system, MyEval, will be coming online for January. The Chief Master Sergeant EPRs will be the first ones used for the new system. More to follow on this, but this will drive constructive feedback based on airman leadership qualities. Next, we'll be getting a new command chief, Chief Master Sergeant Milligan. He's currently downrange at 332nd Air Expeditionary Wing. He should be coming to us in the springtime frame. Everyone should have seen and reviewed the new 362903, the Air Force's Dress and Appearance Guide. Please read it, follow it, and enforce it. We also updated the Commander's Policy 31-09. We all need to be reviewing that as well. The Tech Sergeant Enlisted Force Distribution Panel will be going on next week. And as most of y'all know, we are a small unit for the Tech Sergeants, so we'll be competing at the wing. The only person that's authorized to be in the room for the Tech Sergeants is the Commander. And after it's over, we'll try to provide feedback. For the Senior Airman and Staff Sergeant Enlisted Force Distribution Panel, we are a large unit, so all the senior NCOs and officers in the unit will be the panel for that. If you look on the slide, there is a link. If you go to that link, the formal board charge is listed. This is what the board, and the only thing the board can grade your package on. So please read it and know where you should be at. All right, finally, the good stuff. So a day doesn't go by that another chief, first sergeant, or a commander compliments me on professionalism at the gate and around base. So please keep it up. Even at home with the ACE concept downrange, we're killing it. So continue doing what you're doing. We will have visitors coming. Secretary of the Air Force, PACAF A4S. So when they come to your post, show off. Don't let them tell you no on that post briefing. Just give it to them. If you're negative 40 outside, keep them out there. They all live in Hawaii, so make them suffer.
This is a very simple slide. I stole it from the Marine Corps, but protect what you earned. And that should speak to everything that you do within your career. The decisions you make, the actions that you take, everything that you've been awarded throughout the time frame that you've been here has to amount to honorable service. Everything that you do, all the decisions that you make are yours alone. So ensure that they're the good ones. Truly protect what you earned. So to me, this is the most important slide of this entire briefing. If you need help, ask for it. It doesn't have to be to your supervisor or to leadership, although we are there for you as a resource to help you. But there are many resources available as an outlet, as a source of comfort, as someone that you could possibly talk to who will not tell anybody else your information unless you ask them to. And these resources are all around. So here are some that are listed here. So you have the medical service through mental health. You have the Chaplains Corps, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. You have the Family Advocacy Program, us as your triad. So myself, the chief, the first sergeant, your flight leadership, military one source, the legal office, the SAPR office, equal opportunity, the Brave Badge Initiative, and many, many more resources. What this really boils down to is if you're struggling in life, or if you know an airman is struggling in life, don't let you or them continue to suffer in silence. Reach out for help. Know that there are resources out there available to you. We want you to be healthy. We want you to love who you are and what you do in your life. So let us help you, or let someone help you do that. You are truly our number one asset. Whether you believe it or not, whether you think it or not, I swear to you, you are our most valuable asset. So let us get you that help. Let somebody help you if you need it.